Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a world where so much emphasis is placed on titles, achievements, and the labels we wear. But let me ask you this, what if the key to true success lies not in telling people what you do, but in showing them who you are? Today, I want to share with you why it's time to stop telling others what you do and why. In doing so, you can unlock a deeper level of growth, influence, and personal fulfillment. So let's dive into it. Too many people walk through life trying to define themselves by the job they hold, the title they wear, or the accomplishments they've achieved. They put so much stock in what they do, believing that it is the key to their value. But let me tell you something, what you do is not who you are. It's just a small piece of the grand puzzle. Your true worth, your essence, lies in something far deeper, your character, your integrity, your values, and how you treat others. These are the things that truly define you, and they cannot and should not be summed up by a label. Far too often, we see people hanging their worth on the jobs they have, the things they've done, or the successes they've accumulated. They think that a title is the ultimate measure of their significance. And don't get me wrong, your work, your job, your accomplishments, they matter. They're part of your journey, but they are not the sum of who you are. In fact, if you base your identity on what you do, you're living in a fragile place. What happens when that job is no longer yours? What happens when the title is stripped away or the company you work for closes its doors? If you've only defined yourself by those external markers, then you risk losing yourself when they fade. Let's take a moment and think about the people we admire most in life. The ones who have truly made a difference, who have left an impact far beyond their position, their wealth, or their fame. What makes them stand out? It's not the titles they held. It's not the job they performed. It's who they were as people. They were kind, they were resilient, they were generous, they were humble. And more importantly, they had the courage to live in alignment with their values no matter the external circumstances. The real measure of who you are is in how you treat people. How do you show up for the people in your life when things are tough? How do you lead when no one is watching? The heart, the passion, the integrity you bring to every interaction is what matters most. Not the label you carry, not the title or the paycheck. Your work may define your role for a season, but it can never define your soul. Now, I know that many of us find ourselves caught in this trap. We feel the pressure to achieve, to rise up the corporate ladder, to prove ourselves. And it's okay to want success, to want progress. But we must understand that real fulfillment comes when we align with our deeper purpose, when we focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, grounded in values that never change. At the end of your life, what will people remember you for? Will it be the title you carried or the way you treated them? Will they remember your accomplishments, or will they remember the way you made them feel? We are not remembered for what we did, but for how we made others feel. It's our character, our integrity, and our ability to make a difference in the lives of others that truly define us. So let go of the idea that what you do makes you who you are. Your worth isn't tied to a job, a title, or a number in your bank account. It's tied to the legacy you leave in the hearts of others, in the kindness you show, and in the values you uphold. When you remember this, you'll find a sense of peace, knowing that you are much more than the work you do. You are the sum of your character, your integrity, and the love you give to the world. Have you ever met someone who constantly talks about their title, their role, or the things they've done, yet when you look at their actions, there's a stark difference between what they say and what they do? It's frustrating, isn't it? You hear them speak about their accomplishments, but then their actions don't quite measure up. It's almost as if they're trying to convince you of their worth through words, but words alone don't carry the same weight as actions do. This is a critical point. We all need to understand actions speak louder than words, and people are watching, not just listening. Words are easy. Anyone can say anything, but it's the follow-through, the work behind those words that makes the difference. When someone speaks about their achievements or their title, it might sound impressive for a moment. But soon, people will begin to ask themselves, where are the results? Where's the impact you see? People don't need to hear about what you do. They need to see the results of your work. Results don't need to be explained. They don't need to be justified. And they certainly don't need to be flaunted. Results stand on their own, and they leave a mark far greater than any title or job description could ever do. Think about it for a moment. If someone comes up to you and tells you about all the things they've accomplished, all the big deals they've closed, or the success they've achieved, it might sound impressive at first. But soon you'll be asking yourself, are they walking the walk? Or just talking the talk? Actions are what prove the validity of words. The difference between someone who merely speaks of their success and someone who truly has it is the action behind the talk. When you focus on your work and let your actions speak for you, you begin to build trust, respect, and admiration without saying a word. Your actions become the true testament to your abilities and your character. And that's what leaves a lasting impact. People will remember you not because of the things you said, but because of the things you did. Your results, whether big or small, will outlast any fleeting moment of boasting or self-promotion. Think about the people in your life that you truly admire. Chances are they don't spend a lot of time talking about their successes. Instead, they simply show up. They do the work, they give their best, and they let the results speak for themselves. Their actions resonate in ways that words never could. They understand the power of consistency, the power of discipline, the power of doing the work day in and day out, even when no one is watching. This is the power you have in your own life. When you stop talking about what you're going to do or what you've done, and start focusing on doing it, you'll see your impact grow. You'll become someone who others respect, not because of the words you speak, but because of the actions you take. The truth is, the world doesn't need more talkers. It needs doers. It needs people who are willing to put in the hard work, who are willing to let their actions do the talking. So the next time you're faced with an opportunity, remember this: your actions will always speak louder than your words. Stop explaining your worth, let your work show it. When you focus on producing results, you'll create a legacy that no title, no amount of talk could ever rival. Let your actions speak for you, and watch as they leave a lasting impression far beyond what words could ever achieve. One of the most powerful forces in life is mystery. It's a force that shapes the way people perceive us, the way they are drawn to us, and the way they engage with our journey. Too often, we make the mistake of revealing everything we are, of sharing every detail about ourselves, leaving nothing to the imagination. But let me tell you this: when you tell people exactly what you do, when you lay out all the details of your life and your accomplishments, you give them a fixed idea of who you are. You give them the answer, and in doing so, you take away the beauty of the unknown. You take away the very thing that makes you intriguing, that makes others want to know more. Now, contrast that with someone who holds a little bit back. Someone who doesn't feel the need to share every step of their journey or lay out every plan before it happens. People are naturally drawn to that person. Why? Because there is a sense of mystery about them. They don't reveal everything at once. Instead, they leave something for the imagination. This creates curiosity. It creates a pull that's irresistible. People want to understand more about them. They want to know what drives them, what motivates them, what they are capable of, and what they will do next. Mystery is a powerful magnet. It's what keeps people interested, keeps them watching, keeps them waiting to see what comes next. When you leave some things to be discovered, you keep people on their toes. You keep them engaged because they haven't figured you out yet. And here's the beautiful part: the less you say, the more they want to know. The more space you create for people to wonder, the more they will be intrigued by your story, your potential, and your purpose. When you hold back, you give people the freedom to imagine. They will start filling in the blanks with their own curiosity, which makes you all the more fascinating to them. But let me be clear, I'm not suggesting you play games or be intentionally deceptive. It's not about hiding who you are, but rather about revealing yourself gradually, letting people experience your depth over time. When you do this, you're not presenting them with a finished product, a fully explained version of yourself. Instead, you're inviting them into a journey, a story that unfolds bit by bit. And in this story, people become participants, eager to learn more and to be a part of what's to come. There's power in that. It allows you to shape the way people perceive you. It gives you room to grow, to evolve, and to surprise others with your true capabilities. The more you allow others to discover you on their own terms, the more they will value you. It's the unknown, the parts of you that haven't been revealed, that keep people intrigued and wanting more. It's what keeps you from becoming predictable, from becoming just another face in the crowd. So embrace the power of mystery. Let it work for you. Don't rush to show all your cards. Keep some things hidden, let others wonder, and in doing so, you'll create a sense of allure that draws people in. When you master this art, you won't just be another person, they'll be eager to know you, to understand you, and to be part of the story you are unfolding. The less you say, the more they'll want to know. And that, my friend, is one of the most powerful forces you can harness in life. There's something incredibly powerful about letting your work speak for itself. In a world where people are constantly trying to sell themselves, seeking validation for their achievements, there's a quiet strength in letting your actions do the talking. You see, when you don't feel the need to boast about what you do, when you don't have to validate yourself through your job title, your salary, or your accomplishments, something remarkable begins to happen. Others start to recognize your value on their own. They start to see the quality of your work and the consistency of your effort. And that's when real respect begins to grow. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they walk around constantly talking about what they do? Do they feel the need to remind everyone of their accomplishments, their titles, or their successes? No, the people who truly rise to the top, the ones who make the biggest impact, are the ones who don't need to shout about their achievements. They don't need to tell anyone what they've done, they simply show up. And they perform at such a high level that people can't help but notice. Their results speak for themselves. It's easy to get caught up in the desire for recognition. We all want to be acknowledged for our hard work, to have our efforts validated. But the reality is that the more you seek validation from others, the less likely you are to gain the respect you truly want. This validation is fleeting. It's temporary. It's dependent on external factors. But results, real, tangible results, are permanent. Results are what people remember. Results are what create lasting respect. And when you focus on delivering high-quality work, when you put in the effort day in and day out, that respect comes naturally. You don't have to ask for it. You don't have to chase it. It will find you because your results will create the space for it. This is the power of focusing on your work instead of your title. When you stop seeking attention for what you do and instead focus on doing it to the best of your ability, you'll find that others begin to take notice. They'll respect you for your dedication, your consistency, and your excellence. They'll admire you for your work ethic and for the way you quietly get things done without needing to draw attention to yourself. And that respect is far more meaningful, far more powerful than any validation you could ever seek. The truth is, we live in a world where words are cheap. Anyone can talk about what they're going to do, what they've done, or what they want to accomplish. But real respect is earned through action. It's earned through results. It's earned when you consistently deliver at a level that others can't ignore. The more you focus on producing results, the less you'll need to say about your capabilities. Your work will speak for you, and it will carry far more weight than any words you could say. So stop chasing validation. Stop worrying about whether or not people see you, appreciate you, or acknowledge your efforts. Instead, focus on your results. Pour your energy into your work. Let your performance be so strong, so undeniable that people can't help but respect you. When you let your work speak for itself, you'll find that respect follows naturally, and it will be a respect that lasts. It's incredibly easy to get caught up in the trap of ego, especially when you've accomplished something you're proud of. We all want to be recognized for our hard work, to be acknowledged for the strides we've made, and there's nothing wrong with that desire. But here's where the danger lies the moment you start telling people what you do. The moment you begin to define yourself by your title or your achievements, the focus shifts. It no longer becomes about your work, it becomes about your image. And that shift is subtle, but it can be devastating to your growth. Ego is a silent killer of true success. It creeps up on you often without warning and begins to shape the way you approach your work, your relationships, and your goals. The moment you become attached to a title, a label, or an achievement, something inside you starts to change. You stop growing. You stop pushing yourself to reach the next level because in your mind you've already arrived. You've already made it. And that's the exact moment your progress starts to stall. This is why you must be vigilant about your ego. It's an insidious force that can make you believe that you've reached your peak, that your accomplishments define you. But the truth is, the moment you attach your worth to what you've done, you lose the drive to do more. You stop striving. You stop seeking improvement because you've created an identity around your past, and you're no longer focused on the future. Success is not about staying in one place, it's about continual growth, continual evolution. And ego, when unchecked, can stand in the way of that growth. When you allow ego to take control, you start making decisions for the wrong reasons. You begin to do things for the praise, the recognition, or the validation from others, rather than because you're genuinely passionate about what you're doing. You start to chase external approval instead of internal satisfaction. And here's the kicker: when you're focused on ego, your actions no longer reflect your true potential. Instead of pushing the limits of what you're capable of, you begin to live within the limits of your own self-imposed image. That's when true growth stops. And that's when your potential starts to wither. To avoid the trap of ego, you need to constantly remind yourself that your worth is not tied to your accomplishments or your title. Your value comes from who you are at your core, your character, your integrity, your drive to always improve. You must learn to let your actions carry the weight, not your words. Let your work, your results, and your dedication speak for you. People will see what you're capable of through your actions. They'll respect you not for what you say, but for what you do. Ego might give you temporary satisfaction, but it won't lead you to lasting success. True success is built on humility, growth, and the continual desire to become better. Keep your ego in check. Let go of the need for external validation and focus instead on doing the work, on improving your skills, on mastering your craft. The more you focus on growth and let go of the need to prove yourself, the more success will follow. The more you focus on your actions, the less you'll need to say about who you are. And in the end, that's the kind of success that truly lasts. Too often, we fall into the trap of defining ourselves by our job, our title, or our accomplishments. We introduce ourselves with the label we wear, and in doing so, we unknowingly build walls between ourselves and others. People begin to see you not for who you are, but for what you do. They relate to you through your role, your job, or your position in the world, rather than through the core of who you are as a person. It's an easy trap to fall into, especially when we've worked hard to get to where we are. But this is where we lose the essence of human connection. When you tell someone what you do, you may think you're offering them a piece of information, but in reality, you're creating a barrier. People begin to see you through the lens of your title. Instead of seeing a fellow human being with dreams, struggles, hopes, and emotions, they see a banker, a lawyer, a CEO, or a sales manager. They start to categorize you based on your role, and suddenly the connection you could have shared becomes limited. You've put a label on yourself, and labels have a way of narrowing the scope of who we really are. But here's the powerful shift when you remove that label. When you focus on who you are rather than what you do, you break down those walls. You allow real, authentic relationships to flourish. The truth is, people connect with other people, not with titles. They connect with the essence of who someone is, their kindness, their integrity, their humor, their passion. These qualities are what make us truly human, and they're the things that build genuine, lasting connections. Think about the best relationships in your life. Were they built on job titles, on what you did for a living, or were they built on mutual respect, shared values, and the simple act of seeing each other as human beings? When you take the time to connect with someone on a personal level, without the need to impress them with your role or your achievements, something amazing happens. You become more relatable, more approachable, and more real. People feel like they can open up to you, they feel safe in sharing their own stories, and they feel seen for who they are, not what they do. When you focus on building connections based on who you are as a person, you create a space for true relationships to grow. And these relationships are far more valuable than any title you could hold. In a world that's so quick to judge people by their position or their accomplishments, choosing to focus on the person rather than the role can be incredibly refreshing. It's the foundation for trust, for understanding, and for genuine connection. The next time you meet someone new, don't feel the need to immediately tell them your job title or the company you work for. Instead, share who you are, what you're passionate about, and what drives you. Build a connection based on the things that make you human. In doing so, you'll find that the relationships you form will be deeper, more fulfilling, and more meaningful than any that were built on labels. When you focus on building relationships, not walls, you open the door to a world of possibility, a world where true connection thrives, and where we all see each other for who we really are. When you leave this world, what do you want to be remembered for? It's a powerful question, and one that we all should ask ourselves from time to time. Too often we spend our lives chasing after titles, positions, and accolades, believing that those things will define us in the end. But the truth is, when all is said and done, it won't be the title on your business card or the position you held that will stand the test of time. What will matter is the impact you've made on the lives of others, the way you've touched hearts, and the example you've set. That's the real legacy you'll leave behind. Think about the people who have truly inspired you in your life. Were they remembered for the job they held or the awards they received? No. They were remembered for the way they made you feel, for the lessons they taught you, and for the way they gave of themselves without expecting anything in return. They left behind a legacy because of who they were and what they did, not because of the titles they carried or the accomplishments they amassed. And that is exactly how you will be remembered. When you focus on creating a legacy, you're not focused on the fleeting recognition that comes from titles or accolades. You're focused on the long-term impact of your actions. A true legacy is built through consistent effort, through the relationships you cultivate, and through the way you show up for others. It's about being a person who adds value to the world, who uplifts others, and who lives with integrity and purpose. A legacy is not something you announce. It's something you leave behind through your actions, your words, and the way you live your life. Nobody will remember your legacy because of what you said about yourself. No one will look back and think, that person was amazing because they always told us how great they were. Instead, they'll remember the difference you made in their lives, the kindness you showed when no one was watching, the encouragement you offered when someone needed it most, and the sacrifices you made without ever expecting recognition. These are the things that define your true legacy. When you leave behind a legacy that's centered on making a real impact, you ensure that your influence extends far beyond your lifetime. It lives on in the people you've helped, the lessons you've taught, and the lives you've touched. Your legacy becomes a part of the world, continuing to ripple outwards long after you're gone. And when you focus on that kind of legacy, you realize that you don't need to spend your time talking about yourself or seeking validation. Your actions will do the talking for you. In the end, it's not the title you held or the position you occupied that will be remembered. It's the way you lived your life, the way you showed up every day, the way you treated others, and the way you made the world a better place. So ask yourself, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Make sure it's a legacy of service, kindness, and integrity. Make sure it's a legacy that lives on in the hearts of those who knew you, not because of what you said, but because of what you did. Your legacy will be your testimony, and it will last far longer than any title ever could. Too many people live their lives with a singular focus to achieve something monumental, to reach that point where they can stand tall, look around, and finally say, I've made it. We get so caught up in the idea of the destination of what we're going to accomplish that we forget one crucial truth: success is not a destination, it's a journey. It's not about achieving a goal and then sitting back in triumph. It's about the person you become along the way. The lessons you learn, the growth you experience, and the impact you have on others as you move forward. Success is a continual process. It's a path that stretches out before you, with new challenges, new opportunities, and new insights waiting to be discovered. Too often we define success by the things we can see, the things we can measure. We think that success is only real when we achieve something grand enough for others to notice. But true success isn't about the trophy or the title. It's about the transformation that happens inside you as you push yourself to be better. It's about evolving into someone who is constantly striving for more, who is relentlessly pursuing growth, and who finds meaning in the journey, not just in the outcome. When you focus only on the destination, you miss out on the most valuable part of success, the journey itself. The lessons you learn along the way are often more important than the things you achieve. Every setback, every failure, every moment of uncertainty, these are the things that shape you. They build your character, teach you resilience, and force you to dig deeper into your potential. It's the journey that reveals who you truly are, not just the destination. If you only focus on the end result, you'll spend your life chasing after something that may never fully satisfy you. You'll constantly find yourself looking ahead, thinking that success is just around the corner, only to reach that corner and realize that it's still another mile away. The truth is, success is never a final destination. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you stop growing. So instead of chasing the illusion of a destination, start focusing on the process. Embrace the challenges, the struggles, and the growth that come with every step forward. By focusing on doing and not on telling, you shift your mindset. You stop defining yourself by the titles you hold, by the recognition you seek, and by the praise you hope to receive. Instead, you begin to define yourself by your actions, by the work you do, the effort you put in, and the value you create along the way. You begin to chase growth, not applause. You embrace the process, understanding that it is through this process that you become the person you were meant to be. Every day spent in pursuit of personal growth, no matter how small the step, is a day of success. So shift your focus from the destination to the journey. Embrace each moment, each lesson, and each experience as part of your path to becoming the best version of yourself. Success will not be a one-time event. It will be a lifelong process of growth, learning, and evolution. And when you embrace that, you'll realize that success isn't something you chase, it's something that follows you as you move forward, one step at a time. When you tell people what you do, what you accomplish, or what title you hold, you often unknowingly create expectations. And here's the problem with expectations: they can be incredibly limiting. They place you in a box, force you to meet certain standards, and prevent you from evolving into the person you are meant to be. Expectations can bind you to a fixed idea of who you are, and that can restrict your growth. When you're constantly worried about living up to someone's expectations of you, you stop focusing on the most important thing of all: creating value. Creating value, on the other hand, is about something much deeper. It's about offering something meaningful to the world without the need for applause, recognition, or validation. When you focus on creating value, you stop worrying about what people expect from you and start asking yourself, how can I make a difference? What can I contribute? You stop measuring your worth by the title you carry and instead measure it by the positive impact you have on the people around you. Value isn't something you can boast about or demand. It's something you offer freely with no strings attached. It's about finding ways to serve others, to make their lives better, and to leave a lasting impact, regardless of whether anyone ever notices. The beauty of creating value is that it doesn't require recognition, but the results are undeniable. People will begin to appreciate you for what you've contributed, not for what you've said about yourself. They'll recognize your worth not because of the title you wear, but because of the actions you take and the impact you have on their lives. When you focus on creating value instead of managing expectations, your world begins to change. You are no longer confined by the need to prove yourself to others or to meet someone else's idea of who you should be. Instead, you become free. Free to grow, free to fail, and free to evolve. Your only concern becomes how you can serve, how you can make things better, and how you can create something that matters. When you do that, the world notices, not because you're seeking attention, but because your impact speaks for itself. And here's the powerful part: the more value you create, the more your influence will grow. Your impact will expand in ways you couldn't have imagined. The recognition will come, not because you've sought it, but because it's a natural byproduct of your work. People will start to respect you not for the titles you hold, but for the real, tangible difference you've made in their lives. They'll trust you, they'll value you, and they'll want to be a part of what you're building. So stop worrying about expectations. Stop measuring your worth by what people think you should be. Instead, focus on creating value. Be the person who gives, who serves, who elevates those around them. Let your impact grow not because you told people what you do, but because you showed them through your actions, through the difference you made. When you do this, your life will no longer be defined by titles or labels. It will be defined by the legacy you create, the value you give, and the positive change you bring to the world. There is an incredible freedom that comes with being unseen, unnoticed, working quietly behind the scenes without the need for recognition. The greatest power in the world often lies in those who are not chasing the spotlight, not seeking applause or admiration, but who are deeply focused on the mission at hand. Think about the most influential people in history, the ones who changed the course of nations, who left behind legacies that still shape our world today. They didn't announce their plans to the world. They didn't wear their accomplishments like a badge of honor. They worked in the shadows, letting their actions speak louder than their words. They understood something that many of us overlook: the true freedom lies in doing the work without being seen, without needing validation. We live in a world where visibility is often seen as the measure of success. Social media constantly reminds us that the more visible we are, the more valuable we must be. But this couldn't be further from the truth. The most powerful people, the ones who have left the deepest impact, are those who understood that the mission was more important than the recognition. They knew that by focusing on the work, on what truly matters, they could change the world without having to justify their worth based on titles or the attention they garnered. When you choose to work quietly, when you let go of the need to constantly prove yourself to others, you tap into a freedom that most people will never experience. You stop carrying the weight of expectations, of needing to meet the standards that others set for you. You stop worrying about whether you are being noticed or celebrated for your efforts. Instead, you focus on the impact you are making, on the difference you are creating, and on the value you are contributing to the world. Freedom comes when you stop measuring your worth by the applause you receive or the titles you hold. True freedom lies in being able to do your work without the chains of expectation, without having to prove to anyone that you are worthy of success. You work because the work matters. You contribute because it's what you are called to do. And in doing so, you find fulfillment knowing that your contribution is making a difference, even if no one is there to see it. The beauty of being unseen is that it allows you to focus on what truly matters: the quality of your work, the integrity of your actions, and the depth of your character. It allows you to grow and evolve without the pressure of external judgment. When you are not concerned with how others perceive you, you are free to take risks, to experiment, and to innovate. You are free to chase the mission without worrying about whether it will bring you fame, praise, or recognition. The freedom to simply do what needs to be done, without the need for validation, is a power that few truly understand. So let go of the need to be seen. Embrace the freedom that comes with working behind the scenes. Focus on your mission, on what you can contribute, and the impact you can make. When you do, you'll realize that the truest form of success is not in being noticed, but in the quiet, powerful work you do, work that speaks for itself, work that changes lives, and work that creates a legacy, unseen but deeply felt. So, my friends, stop telling people what you do. Instead, show them who you are. Let your actions be the evidence. Let your results speak for themselves. Don't become attached to a title. Instead, become attached to a purpose. Your work isn't about telling people what you do, it's about making a difference. Your legacy isn't about the words you speak, it's about the lives you touch. And when you embrace that truth, you'll realize that the most important thing is not to tell others what you do, but to show them who you are through your actions, your passion, and your commitment to excellence. The world doesn't need to know what you do. It needs to feel the impact of who you are. Thank you.